Ladies and gentlemen, today isn't just another day, it's your day. The day you stop waiting, stop doubting, and start becoming. Because inside every single one of you, there is a fire, a force so powerful, so alive, that when it's awakened, it can transform everything around you. Most people walk through life dimmed down, buried under fear, past failures, and the opinions of others. But not you, not today. Today, we ignite something deeper, the fire within you, the passion, the hunger, the unstoppable energy that's been waiting to be set free. This isn't about motivation for a moment. It's about a breakthrough for life. It's about reclaiming your power, reawakening your purpose, and stepping into the version of yourself you were always meant to be. So I ask you, are you ready? Are you ready to unleash the fire within and live with the intensity, the courage, and the drive that your life truly deserves? Because once that fire is lit, nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop you. Every powerful transformation begins with one simple yet profound act, remembering why you started. Deep down, every human being carries a dream, a purpose, a vision that once set their soul on fire. But as life happens, that fire often gets buried under fear, routine, disappointment, and the noise of the world. The truth is, we don't lose our drive, we forget it. We forget the moment we first believed something greater was possible for us. We forget the feeling we had when we said, I'm going to change my life. To reignite your inner drive, you have to reconnect to that original spark, the one that made you believe before anyone else did. Think back to that moment when you first felt unstoppable. Maybe it was when you overcame a challenge that seemed impossible, or when you made a decision that scared you but changed everything. That moment wasn't random. It was the real you emerging. The problem is most people stop feeding that fire. They let comfort replace hunger. They let routine replace growth. They start living life by default, not by design. Reigniting your inner drive means refusing to accept that as your story. It means waking up and saying, I'm not done yet. I still have more inside me. Because the truth is your potential doesn't disappear. It just goes dormant, waiting for you to wake it up. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who never get tired or never doubt themselves. They're the ones who remember why they began even when everything around them tells them to quit. Your why is your fuel. When your why is strong enough, the how will always reveal itself. You can face any obstacle, any setback, any failure if you have a reason that burns brighter than your excuses. So take a moment and reconnect with that purpose. What made you want this? What does this dream mean to you? Who will benefit when you achieve it? Who will suffer if you don't? These questions are not about pressure, they're about power, because clarity creates energy. When you remember your reason, your passion ignites and your actions gain meaning again. But reigniting your drive isn't just about emotion, it's about commitment. Emotion is what gets you started, but discipline is what keeps you going. Every day you must feed your fire. You feed it with vision, with gratitude, with progress, with action. Even the smallest step forward can reignite your momentum. The more you act, the more confident you become, and the more confident you become, the more unstoppable you feel. That's how the fire grows, through movement. Stagnation kills motivation, but motion builds it. The secret is to live in alignment with what truly matters to you. When your actions match your purpose, energy flows effortlessly. You stop forcing motivation and start living it. You begin to wake up with excitement again. The world might try to distract you, discourage you, or drain you. But when you're deeply connected to your purpose, nothing can pull you off course for long. So reigniting your inner drive isn't a one-time event. It's a daily decision. It's the choice to show up even when you don't feel like it, to keep going even when it's hard, and to remind yourself that the fire within you was never lost. It was waiting for you to remember who you are and what you were made for. When you do that, everything changes. You don't chase motivation anymore. You become it. You walk differently. You speak differently. You live with a sense of certainty and conviction that others can feel. And that's when the world starts responding to your energy. That's when doors open, opportunities appear, and the impossible becomes inevitable. Because when you remember why you started, the fire within you becomes unstoppable. Fear is the single greatest thief of human potential. It creeps into our minds disguised as logic, caution, or even self-protection. But in reality, it's the silent killer of dreams. Every time you hesitate, every time you tell yourself, maybe later, fear wins. Breaking the chains of fear and limiting beliefs isn't about pretending you're not scared. It's about refusing to let fear dictate the direction of your life. The truth is, fear will always be there, whispering that you're not ready, not capable, not enough. But courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite it. You see, the people who create extraordinary lives aren't fearless. They've just learned to use fear as fuel instead of a cage. Every limiting belief you hold has a story behind it. Maybe someone once told you that you couldn't do it. Maybe you failed once, and now you wear that failure like a scar that defines you. But here's the truth. Those beliefs are not reality. They're interpretations. They're mental walls you built to protect yourself from pain. But in doing so, you've also locked yourself away from your potential. Breaking free begins with awareness. You have to catch those thoughts when they show up. I can't, I'm not good enough. It's too late, and challenge them. Ask yourself, Is this belief empowering me or limiting me? Because the quality of your life will always mirror the quality of your beliefs. Fear feeds on uncertainty, and the only way to starve it is through action. When you take action, even a small step, the illusion of fear begins to fade. You realize that most of the things you were afraid of were never as big as your imagination made them. The first time you face something you fear, it feels terrifying. The second time, it feels uncomfortable. By the third or fourth time, it starts to lose its power. That's how confidence is built, not by waiting for the fear to disappear, but by acting in spite of it. Each time you do, you weaken the chains that have held you back for years. But it's not just fear that limits you, it's the beliefs you've accepted as truth. Somewhere along the line, you might have decided that success is for other people, that you're too young, too old, too inexperienced, or too broken. These beliefs are lies, and the moment you decide to reject them, your world expands. You start to see that you've always had the power. You just needed to change your story. The story you tell yourself about who you are and what's possible for you shapes every decision you make. Change the story and you change your life. The process of breaking fear's grip is uncomfortable. It demands honesty. You have to face your insecurities, your failures, your past. But that's where growth happens, in the discomfort. Fear loses its strength when you shine light on it. The moment you name your fear and confront it head on, it starts to crumble. And once you realize you can do something you were once afraid of, you become unstoppable. You start to trust yourself again. You start to believe that you can handle whatever comes next. That belief, that trust in your own resilience is freedom. When you break those chains, you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You no longer let fear decide who can become. Instead, you become the creator of your destiny. And that's when everything begins to shift. Your confidence grows, your energy changes, and people begin to feel your power. Life opens up in ways you never imagined. The challenges don't disappear, but you approach them differently, with courage, clarity, and conviction. The fear that once held you back becomes the fire that drives you forward. And in that moment, you'll realize something profound. Fear was never your enemy. It was your teacher, guiding you to the edge of your comfort zone so you could discover who you really are beyond it. Pain is one of life's greatest teachers, yet most people spend their entire lives running from it. They try to avoid it, numb it, or hide it, believing that pain is something to be feared. But the truth is, pain is power in disguise. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every disappointment carries within it the seed of strength, growth, and transformation. The difference between those who are broken by pain and those who are built by it lies in one decision: to use it instead of escape it. When you learn to transform pain into purpose, you no longer see it as punishment. You begin to see it as preparation for the person you're meant to become. There's a moment in everyone's life where pain feels unbearable, when the weight of failure, loss, or rejection makes you question everything. In those moments, it's easy to fall into victimhood, to ask, why me? But the question that truly changes your life isn't, why me? It's, what is this trying to teach me? Because pain, when used consciously, reveals your deepest potential. It forces you to grow beyond who you were yesterday. It strengthens your emotional muscles. It makes you more resilient, more compassionate, more unstoppable. Every powerful person you admire has a story of pain that became the foundation of their strength. They didn't rise in spite of their pain. They rose because of it. Transformation begins the moment you stop resisting your pain and start embracing it. Pain has a way of stripping away everything that's false. Your ego, your excuses, your comfort zones. It brings you face to face with your truth. That's why it hurts so deeply, because it exposes what's real. But once you sit with it, once you stop running from it, you realize that your pain isn't there to destroy you. It's there to rebuild you. Every tear, every sleepless night, every setback is shaping a version of you that's stronger, wiser, and more focused than ever before. You may not see it while you're in it, but one day you'll look back and understand why it all had to happen the way it did. The key to turning pain into power is meaning. The moment you give your pain a purpose, it stops being a burden and becomes a tool. If you suffered, use that suffering to serve. If you failed, use that failure to grow. If you were hurt, use that hurt to heal others. Your scars are not symbols of weakness. They're proof that you survived, that you fought, and that you refused to give up. The most beautiful souls are those who have walked through darkness and still choose to shine their light. That light doesn't come from avoiding pain. It comes from transforming it. When you turn pain into purpose, you become unshakable. Life will still test you. It always does, but nothing can break you anymore because you've already been through the fire and learned how to rise from it. You begin to carry a quiet power, a deep knowing that no matter what happens, you will find a way. You stop fearing the storms because you become the storm. You stop asking for an easy path because you've learned that growth never comes from comfort. It comes from endurance. So instead of resenting your pain, thank it. Thank it for waking you up, for making you stronger, for forcing you to evolve. Use it as a reminder of your capacity to overcome. Let it drive you, fuel you, and remind you of what truly matters. Because every time you transform pain into purpose, you light a fire within yourself that can never be extinguished. You become a force of nature, Someone who doesn't just survive life's hardships, but uses them to build something extraordinary. And that's when pain stops being something that happens to you and becomes something that happens for you, to push you toward your ultimate potential. Your mind is the control center of your entire life. Everything you experience, every emotion you feel, every action you take, it all begins with what's happening inside your head. Most people go through life letting their external world dictate their internal state. They wake up, check their phones, see bad news or someone else's success, and immediately allow that to shape how they feel. But the truth is, you have the power to master your state, to take full control of your mind and emotions, and by doing so, take control of your destiny. When you learn to control your mind, you stop reacting to life and start creating it. Your emotional state determines your decisions, and your decisions determine your destiny. Think about it. When you're in a state of fear or doubt, you play small, you hesitate, you make excuses. But when you're in a state of confidence, gratitude, and certainty, you take massive action. You make bold moves. You attract opportunities. The difference isn't the situation, it's the state you're in when you face it. That's why mastering your state is the foundation of all transformation. You can't control everything that happens around you, but you can control what happens to you within you. That's your power. Most people wait for circumstances to change before they change their state. They say things like, I'll be happy when I get the job, or I'll be confident when I lose the weight. But it doesn't work that way. External change follows internal mastery, not the other way around. You have to decide to step into the emotion you want right now before anything changes. Confidence isn't something you find, it's something you generate. Motivation isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. The fastest way to change your life is to change your emotional state, and the fastest way to change your state is to shift your focus, your physiology, and your language. Your focus determines your reality. Whatever you focus on, you feel. If you focus on what's missing, what's wrong, or what you can't control, you'll live in frustration and fear. But if you focus on what you have, what you can do, and what's possible, you'll feel empowered. It's that simple. The mind follows direction. Where focus goes, energy flows. Start training your focus every day. Focus on gratitude, focus on growth, focus on what's working. Over time, your brain rewires itself to find opportunities instead of obstacles. Your body also plays a huge role in your state. Try standing tall, breathing deeply, and smiling. Your entire emotional chemistry shifts instantly. Tony Robbins often says, motion creates emotion. When you change your movement, you change your feelings. That's why he gets people jumping, shouting, and moving during his events. Because when you move differently, you think differently. You can't feel depressed in a strong, confident posture. Your body and mind are deeply connected. Use that connection. Move with purpose, breathe with power, and watch how your energy transforms. Finally, the words you use shape your emotions. The language you attach to your experience defines how you feel about it. Say, I'm devastated, and you'll feel crushed. Say, I'm learning, and you'll feel empowered. Start noticing the words you use every day and choose ones that empower you rather than weaken you. Replace I have to with I get to. Replace I can't with I will. These small shifts in language create massive shifts in your psychology. Mastering your state doesn't mean you'll never feel negative emotions again. It means you'll never stay stuck in them. You'll recognize them, manage them, and redirect them towards something productive. The difference between a life of struggle and a life of fulfillment is how quickly you can change your state. When you can turn fear into focus, pain into drive, and doubt into determination, you become unstoppable. Your circumstances no longer control you. You control them through the power of your mind. And when you reach that level of mastery, you realize something incredible. You've always had the power to create the life you want. You just had to learn how to master your state and unleash it from within. There comes a moment in everyone's life when inspiration alone is no longer enough. You can read every book, watch every motivational video, and listen to every powerful speech. But until you take action, nothing changes. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve is massive action. Massive action means going all and burning the boats and refusing to settle for mediocrity. It's not about doing a little bit when it's convenient. It's about doing whatever it takes until your vision becomes reality. The truth is you don't get what you wish for, you get what you work for. Success doesn't respond to hopes or intentions. It responds to consistent, relentless action. Too many people wait for the perfect moment to begin, but the perfect moment doesn't exist. You will never have the ideal timing, the perfect plan, or total clarity before you start. What creates clarity is movement. When you take action, you gain feedback, and that feedback becomes wisdom. You start to see what works and what doesn't. The people who win in life are not necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who simply refuse to stop moving forward. Action builds momentum, and momentum creates miracles. The first few steps might feel uncertain, but once you get moving, energy starts to flow. The hardest part is always getting started, but once you begin, you'll feel that fire building again inside you. Massive action also requires courage because it means stepping into the unknown. It means leaving behind comfort and stepping into chaos, knowing that growth lives there. Fear will always try to talk you out of action. It will whisper, what if you fail? But the real question is, what if you succeed? You'll never know what's truly possible for you until you push past that wall of fear. Action destroys fear. Every time you take a step, the voice of doubt gets quieter and your confidence grows. The most powerful people on earth are not fearless. They just act faster than their fear. But taking massive action doesn't mean doing everything at once or working yourself into burnout. It means being intentional and focused. Decide what you truly want and then commit fully to it. Set a clear goal, create a plan, and take immediate action. Today, not tomorrow. Momentum is built on immediacy. The longer you wait, the colder the fire burns. Start now, even if it's imperfect. You can adjust your path along the way. Remember, you can't steer a parked car. Movement gives you control. Progress, no matter how small, builds belief. And belief is the foundation of achievement. Action without belief is struggle, but belief without action is fantasy. The magic happens when both align. When your heart is on fire with belief and your hands are moving with purpose, the universe begins to respond. Doors open. People show up. Opportunities appear. It feels like luck, but it's not. It's alignment. It's the natural result of consistent, focused effort combined with unwavering conviction. Every great accomplishment in history started with one decision. Someone decided to take massive action when everyone else was waiting for permission. They didn't know how it would work out. They just knew they couldn't stay where they were. That's how transformation happens. You move, you learn, you grow. And eventually the vision that once existed only in your mind becomes real. Massive action is not about perfection. It's about persistence. You will stumble, fail, and fall, but every failure is feedback. Every setback is preparation, and every obstacle is a test of how badly you want it. Keep pushing, keep adapting, and keep moving, because the moment you stop waiting and start acting with everything you've got, life starts to bend in your favor. The world doesn't give its best to those who wish. It gives it to those who take action. And when you live with that level of commitment, there's no limit to what you can create. That's when the fire within you becomes unstoppable and your vision turns into your reality. Motivation is powerful, but it's fleeting. It can spark the fire, but it can't keep it burning. What truly separates those who achieve greatness from those who fade away after a burst of excitement is the ability to sustain the fire, to turn motivation into momentum. Anyone can feel inspired for a day, but those who create lasting change know how to turn that spark into a steady flame that drives them every single day. The secret lies in consistency, discipline, and emotional commitment to your vision. You have to make progress a habit, not an occasional event. Momentum is built through repetition. It's what happens when you keep showing up, even when you don't feel like it. The days you don't want to do it are the days that matter the most, because that's when discipline is forged. When you rely only on motivation, you're at the mercy of your feelings. But when you build momentum through disciplined action, your results no longer depend on your mood. They depend on your mindset. You begin to develop an internal engine that keeps pushing you forward, regardless of how you feel. That's what creates long-term transformation. The fire within you will always flicker if you don't feed it. You feed it with progress. Even small wins can reignite your energy because progress equals happiness. The human spirit thrives on growth. When you see yourself evolving, when you notice yourself getting stronger, more capable, more focused, that's when you feel alive. That's when the fire grows brighter. So stop chasing perfection and start celebrating progress. Every step, every action, every bit of improvement keeps the flame alive. Sustaining your fire also requires purpose. When you tie your goals to something meaningful, something that matters to your heart, it's easier to stay committed. Purpose gives pain meaning. It turns obstacles into stepping stones. When your why is strong enough, you'll keep moving even when the excitement is gone, because then you're not just working for results, you're working for something bigger than yourself. That sense of purpose fuels resilience. It gives you the emotional strength to keep going when most people quit. Another key to sustaining momentum is environment. You can't keep your fire burning if you're surrounded by people who constantly pour water on it. Protect your energy. Surround yourself with those who challenge you, inspire you, and push you to stay on track. Your environment is either feeding your fire or extinguishing it. Choose carefully. Create habits, routines, and surroundings that align with your goals. Let everything around you remind you of who you're becoming, not who you used to be. Consistency doesn't mean you won't stumble. It means you refuse to stay down when you do. Every setback is an opportunity to recommit. Every time you fall and rise again, your fire becomes more resilient. That's how unstoppable people are made, not by never falling, but by never staying on the ground. It's the repetition of rising that builds strength. You'll have days when you feel exhausted, unmotivated, or uncertain. But if you can push through those days, you'll find that something incredible happens. It gets easier. Discipline becomes automatic and momentum takes over. When momentum takes over, life starts working with you instead of against you. You begin to attract opportunities because you're in constant motion. Energy creates energy. People feel your drive, they sense your commitment, and they're drawn to it. That's when the compound effect of consistency kicks in. Your small actions begin to create massive results over time. To sustain the fire within, never forget why you lit it in the first place. Revisit your vision daily. Visualize your future as if it's already happening. Remind yourself of how far you've come and how much potential still lies ahead. Feed your mind with empowering thoughts, fuel your body with energy, and fill your heart with gratitude. Because when you combine discipline, purpose, and persistence, your fire doesn't just survive, it thrives. It becomes unshakable, unstoppable, and eternal. And when you live from that state of unstoppable momentum, there's no challenge too great, no goal too far, and no dream too big. That's how you turn motivation into a movement and keep the fire within burning for life.